Hey there everybody, my name's John. I'm with the Bucyrus Model Railroad Club. This is our club layout. We are a HO scale straight DC layout. The club started in this building in 1985. We originally started with just having the back room, and this front room was the flower show for the fair. And when the flower people got their own building, we took over the rest of this building and added in this front layout. And just going to give you a layout tour. I'm hoping to about once a month or once every other month do kind of a layout update. Just give you guys a idea what we're doing here. And maybe for the people who've never seen this layout before or building their own, gives them some ideas for their layout. And feel free to ask questions in the comments if you have any. We'll do our best to get them answered for you. But I'm going to start here in the steel mill. And this is the area that has had the least changes, if at all, for quite a while. Everything else has kind of been revamped or is in the process of being revamped at the moment. This was done by one of our club members, Matt. He did it, I want to say, around 2010 or so, but he did a pretty good job with it. As far as I know, all the buildings are Walther's buildings. And this curve right here, before it was a steel mill, we had this modeled after the horseshoe curve. And then when we put the steel mill in, that kind of went away, because this aisleway used to be filled up, couldn't walk into here. But with the steel mill going in, we decided to get rid of that part. Here's the control panel for it. And with to control the steel mill and even a lot of other places on the layout, especially in the back room, we use these kind of homemade handhelds. Just got a phone jack on the end, plug that into right here, two different cabs. Now we get into the coal mine, and this is kind of the beginning of all the big changes. If you've ever seen this layout before, you are definitely about to notice all the big changes. It still takes all of us some getting used to walking in and seeing this all different. But over in here in the coal mine, originally there was just these two main tracks come through here and go into the mountain, which you can see kind of ended right there. And then this track came and kind of dead end right about the start of that switch, and it just made it a real hassle trying to switch in the coal mine. So what we did, we added a fifth track to the outside, as gives you a little more room to do stuff, plus you don't disturb the main line going in and out of the coal mine. And then these two tracks right here are staging, but like I said, from here all the way around this curve used to be one big mountain. Here's where that outside track on the other side hooks in. But where all these buildings are sitting, my dad, who is another club member, he wanted to put a stone quarry in, and originally this is where we were going to put it. And that mountain kind of stretched out, came down to about in here. So we got the hole made for where we were going to put the stone quarry, and we started tearing into the mountain. And the farther we went into the mountain, the more we decided to just keep going a little bit further, and before we knew it, the whole mountain was gone. And we kind of decided we'll just replace it with a backdrop instead of building a whole new mountain, which I think it's a lot better this way, because that mountain was at least as tall as the top of that jar sitting there and that piece of plywood that's clamped there, and you had to rely on all these mirrors up here to see the tracks out here, see what was going on. But with this, you can see a little bit more. Can't see it all, but it's definitely better than it was. So then we decided to swap where the town is in the back room for where the stone quarry was going to be. So now we're working on the town out here, putting it in, and we're working on putting in the stone quarry in the back room. Everything just kind of seems to flow a lot better. There was going to have to be a lot of track changes to accommodate for the stone quarry out here, and so we just decided, because the way where we've got the stone quarry going in back in the back room, it's got a little staging yard already right next to it, and we weren't going to have to do any major track changes. So it just kind of seemed to fit a lot better back there than up in here. And with this track here, this all hooks in with that fifth one on the outside over at the coal mine. So that means that now on this track you can run completely around from the back room all the way around the layout, through the coal mine, through the steel mill, around through here, and then get on the other side of that backdrop. You'll see it climbs up and goes through the other part of the town and back into the back room again. So if we've got stuff in the yard that needs to come out to the coal mine or the steel mill, before we had to interfere with the main lines out here, and especially like we're running during the fair or our train show, that can be a hassle. So now we can bring stuff from the back room out here and not have to worry about tying up main lines. And then this track here on the outside, there was a lumber place here, and that track kind of ended somewhere in here. One of our members, Ed, decided to just bring this right on around and hook it in down there as just kind of an extra storage track, because out here there's not a whole lot of big storage areas. We used to have under the layout staging, but everybody kind of quit using it because it was such a pain in the butt to get clean and keep cleaned. And if you had a derailment or something, it could be a pain getting under there and trying to fix it. So we got rid of that and put this in, and plus we got those 2 sidings at the horseshoe and those 2 sidings over there by the mountain. And they also came in here, put a switch in here. This used to just curve right on around here. Add kind of a little runaround for the tracks in here that feed the ice plant and the meat processing. And they're still trying to figure out how exactly they want this town to be laid out. And then so for this side of the backdrop scene, they're going to have the road come in here to this tunnel, and it's going to come out over here and dump into another little kind of half of the town. Here's that inside track I was talking about over there. It makes us climb up here and goes through there and then goes into the back room. So yeah, there's going to be another little bit of a town here. The road is going to be on both sides of the track. When this town was up here originally, the backdrop was on this side of the post here, so we decided to move it to the backdrop to the other side of the post, kind of open that up a little more, give us some more room. And this track kind of came through here and went straight through here right down the middle of the road. And instead of burying the track again, we decided to put one direction of traffic on one side of the tracks, and then the other direction will be on this side. And then they'll all come down here and cross over and go over an overpass that sits right here. And there's a passenger station that sits in this spot too, that goes over the tracks. Here's the other side of the steel mill. Now there is talk, because right now you can run, it's an option to run track 1 in the back room and track 1 out here all the way around both layouts. And there has been talk of making it to where track 1 in both rooms would be all the time running all the way around, and then track 2 in the background, or the back room, would be an option to be able to run all the way around. Same with out here. But it would take having to basically tear this section completely apart and completely redo it from the ground up, just because of the way there's some crossovers underneath that would have to be changed around, and all these tracks would have to be changed around more than likely. We thought about tearing into that this year, but I think they're still questioning on what exactly they would want to do and how to do it. So here starts the back room. And then right here in this corner, this is where the town used to sit. This is now going to be the stone quarry. Of course, there's going to be the quarry. There's going to be this track that's, you see right there, is going to come out down into here. We're going to put a few stone piles about where that loader's sitting, and cars will get loaded by front end loaders, and then trucks I think will be the same way. And right here on this kind of angled spot about where that loader is, from about in here to somewhere in here, we're going to put a asphalt plant that will kind of tie into that. And like I was saying out there, this staging yard that's right here, basically all we have to do is add in this track for the loadout, and then down there, I don't know if you can see that switch or not sitting there, but we're going to put that in, and there's going to be a shop sitting where them two yellow papers are sitting, and that switch is going to have a track come off of it and go into the shop. But that's basically the only track work we have to do to it. So it definitely is a lot easier than having to change all that out front that we're going to have to change just to accommodate for a track to load the cars, kind of a couple staging tracks for loaded and empty cars. But back here we've got plenty of room and don't have to do a lot of changes. We decided to experiment trying to make a road out of cork that comes in right here and then loops around, hugs the what would be track 4, comes down here and hooks into the existing road. And this is grain elevator. People who have been here before, this is the elevator that used to sit over in there once you first walked in the back room, but we decided to move it over here because we've already got an ethanol plant down here, and figured why not just put them on both sides. And I think there's a farm scene over there we're gonna kind of expand, and I think they're gonna put one of our members is gonna put a John Deere dealership or something in there, farm equipment dealership of some sort, in a couple fields. But I'm the one who did all this. I didn't go extravagant like I did with the ethanol plant on this, just because this is mainly just going to be a regular grain facility, nothing special. But come on down through here and we get into the ethanol plant. Got the probe right here, and then the office with the scale, and then we got the grain dump, 2 truck dumps and a rail dump. And we got 4 grain bins. These are Walther's grain bins, and the original kit is only about 10 rows. And so to make these bins, we had to go, I think it was a kit and a half to make them this tall. I kind of wish they were bigger around, but nobody seemed to offer one that was quite much bigger. I think these are 5.5 or 6 inches around. And then this is the truck loadout. We got the tank car loadout. And then on the side of the elevator here, this is a loadout for wet cake, which some people use it for cattle feed. Some places use it to for a distillery. It's just kind of the remnants of what's left after the ethanol making process. And then this is the processing plant portion of the Walthers ethanol series. When I got this was one of, I think, 2 kits that I could find anywhere, whether it was on eBay or Facebook or you name it. Nobody had it, but luckily somebody had the kit, so I got it while I still could. And we got 2 storage tanks. And then as you see right here, the only other way to crawl or get into this layout is to crawl under. So a few years ago, they decided to put this lift gate bridge, which makes it a lot easier. And it is set up to where about at that signal tower and about that one over there, this has got to where if that's not pushed down making contact, then it will kill the power to the tracks from, like I say, from that signal bridge over to this one. Because right after we put this in, our former club president, he had a new Bachmann EM1 with sound that they came out with a few years ago, and he didn't realize it was sitting or just about on the bridge, and he picked the bridge up to come out, and that EM1 proceeded to run off the edge of the tracks and hit the ground. So needless to say, we fixed that problem after that. So now we work on into here. This is a scrap yard that one of our members, Dick, made. I kind of helped him with it. And then come down in through here. This stuff hasn't changed really at all. Got a lumber mill here. That former president, Dave Moore, he passed away in May, and he was working on kind of changing this around a little bit before he died, but I think what we decided is eventually this is going to be, like I was talking earlier, this will be either one or a couple of the fields, just because none of us that are in the club now have a use for a lumber mill, and we're trying to make it to where basically just about everything that's on the layout is usable and not just sitting there for looks. And like I say, none of us have any use for a lumber mill, so I think we're gonna change that around to a couple fields. In here we're gonna either extend the farm and put the dealership here, or move the farm and put the dealership here. And so this kind of brings us back around to where we started. Right here's where we started. So I'm going to take you in and show you the yard now. Alright, so now we're in here at the yard. This is of course the roundhouse with the turntable. And here's the control panel for the turntable. This is how we move the turntable, get it lined up with whatever track you need. And like a lot of the other areas on the layout, this control panel's got two different cabs you can use. And the way these switches are wired up is not only are they the power for that track, but the direction too. So you can tell here on the direction switch, you got the green and the red. You got the green and the red on the track. And we get here into the rest of the yard. And again, we got a 2-cab system. Here's the control panel for the yard. It's all push buttons on the switches, toggles for track power. And the way these switches are hooked up is to where it will line up, like say you're here on track 4, and if you hit this button for 4, it will throw whatever switches it needs to get you lined up to get on or off track 4. Same with down here. Like if we say we're coming in to the yard here and we want to go to track 4, we'd hit that button and it say all these switches right here throw the opposite direction of what you need. It will, once you hit that button, it will line up all these switches to come right into route or track 4. And then this is the switch panel for the crossover we've got down here. And then this is the hill that goes out into, like I was saying, you can either go into the steel mill or go down through the town and out and around. And here is control panel for this back side. All the crossovers are on toggles. Again, 2-cab system. And if you're wondering, yes, the signals do work. And they are wired up to work correctly. And they do work correctly as long as the train has either resistors on the wheels or say like a lighted caboose on the end. As long as it's got something signaling that there's power or something being back there getting used, then it will trigger the signal to work correctly. But right here on the Roundhouse, I forgot I wanted to show you. Matt, our club member, made this, and he did something a little smart here. Instead of gluing down these roof panels, he made them lift off, so in case you wanted to look in there and see if there was something on that track, or if you had a derailment, just pop that off there and look in there. Here's the front view of the Roundhouse and turntable. Here's a backside view of the ethanol plant. That's that wet cake loadout I was talking about. You see another view of the grain dump there. Here's the car shop in the yard. And we've got the coaling tower and the steam and diesel facilities are all kind of spread out through here. Of course, Roundhouse down there, then you got the wash bay, and you got all the diesel facilities here. Got the ash pit there. And this gets over into that staging yard for the stone quarry. Here's that, where we're going to put that switch in. It'll go down to that shop building / storage building for a switcher. This is the yard for the ethanol plant. It's basically 2 storage tracks, these 2 outside ones, but really if you wanted to, you could about make it 3 tracks, because of course you got the switch down there, but you also got a crossover here to where if you needed a 3rd track you could use it. But basically that is all of the back room for you. So I'll take you back out to the front room and finish this video up. Alright, one last thing I wanted to show you. This is our show flyer for the 2021 show. As long as this whole COVID thing gets done and over with. I'll zoomed in there so you can pause and look at it. Alrighty, I'd like to thank all of you for watching this video. I ask that you like and subscribe it, share it to your friends, whoever you want to, get the word out about us. And like I say, I'm going to try to do a update video about once a month or once every other month, just to kind of keep you guys in the loop of how things are going. And hopefully, like I say, all this COVID stuff gets done and over with, and we can start getting to more train shows opened up and be able to get out and enjoy the hobby a little bit more than being stuck in doing stuff. So thank you all for watching, and wish the best for you in the new year.